Hey, I'm your host, Jen Wheeler, and this is the Healthy Her podcast. I'm a teacher, author, and foodie who went from being addicted to sugar, skipping meals, and struggling to get in control of my eating, to someone who is 10 kilos down, eats all the yummy foods without restriction, and is finally in control of my hunger. I'm obsessed with helping other health-conscious women ditch the confusion and overwhelm so they can cultivate healthy eating habits and truly thrive. The Healthy Her podcast was created to give you real talk about healthy eating, as well as easy, actionable tips that fit seamlessly into your busy lifestyle. I'm not just your host. Think of me as your healthy eating hype gal, your personal cheerleader as we chat all things healthy eating, weight loss, and mindset mastery, so you can become the healthiest, happiest version of you. So if you're ready to ditch the guilt, reclaim your confidence, and unlock the very best version of you, then you're in the right place. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Healthy Her podcast. I am so glad you're here, and I hope that wherever you're listening to the podcast, that this is just a little time for yourself. And because I know that that's what podcasts will always for me. Like, I just loved getting on the treadmill at the gym and just switching off and tuning into a really good podcast and either like listening or learning something. And I hope that the Healthy Her podcast for today is that little moment of self-care that is just for you. Okay, time to dive into today's topic. Now, we're going to talk about cutting out food and exactly why you do not need to cut out the food that you love in order to reach your goals. You just don't. Okay. And I know that as women, we automatically jump to, okay, well, I've put on weight. I've had to buy larger size clothes. I don't feel comfortable in my skin anymore. I'm not happy with myself. I'm not happy with my body. I need to lose some weight. Okay, right. Well, I'll cut out everything that I love and restrict my food. It is just a recipe for disaster. It never works. And the reason that cutting out foods that you enjoy does not work is because it is not sustainable. Nobody eats perfectly all of the time. I can guarantee you that. I do not eat perfectly all of the time. I don't. And I've been able to lose weight, maintain my weight, have a good relationship with food, and still have a life and enjoy the foods that I love. I promise you that cutting out food, cutting out certain food groups is not the answer to your success. And the honest truth is it all just comes down to a lack of knowledge and a lack of education. I truly believe that when it comes to food and nutrition and cravings and why we eat and how we eat the way we do and why we exercise the way we do and all of those kind of things, all comes down to your knowledge. And I honestly believe that women haven't been taught to how to eat properly. We just haven't. We have been taught how to be skinny, how to diet, how to over-exercise, how to restrict our food, how to cut out food groups, but not provided with the knowledge and the education that we need to succeed. And that was one of the biggest drivers for me starting my business, starting the podcast, because I thought, if I'm sitting here as a intelligent woman, I have a business, I have a family. If I'm sitting here and I'm having these aha moments going, why has no one told me this? That other women must be feeling the same. They must be feeling the same. And it's just proof. There are so many women and so many of you out there that feel the same way as me. And until someone sits you down and says, hey, actually, Jen, like, you don't need to cut out the food that you love. If you do this instead and do that instead, you can actually still eat what you enjoy and still lose weight and still be healthy and still have an amazing life and go out and do all the things. But women are not having those conversations, and women are not being told that. We are being sold to with advertising, how to be skinny, how to lose 5 kilos in 5 days, how to cut out food groups. There's always some new latest fad about what we shouldn't be eating, whether it's fat, whether it's meat, whether it's sugar. Like, there's always something out at the time. So if you are still feeling very overwhelmed and confused about all of this healthy eating and food and fat loss stuff, you are not alone. I promise you, it is not you. It is just your knowledge and your understanding of these things that is holding you back. Because once you get access to this knowledge. And once you learn these things, you will become unstoppable. It's like a puzzle piece. I remember one of the Hype Gal members messaged me the other day and she's like, Jen, you're like the missing piece to my puzzle. Like you've just put everything together for me. And that's what we need. We need those puzzle pieces to come together so we understand what we are doing. So that has always been my driver for sharing these conversations with you so that you can put your puzzle pieces together and so that you know how all of this works and so you can stop feeling overwhelmed and confused. Now, let's talk about cutting out food groups. Now, it can be like the podcast is about cutting out food groups, but it could be food groups. It could be a specific food. So, for example, if you love chocolate and you've gone, right, well, I'm not going to eat chocolate for a month, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because if you like chocolate and you don't eat chocolate for the month, every time you walk past the shop, like when you're at the supermarket and they put those things there, especially as a mother, so your kids annoy you to buy the lollies and the chips and stuff that are right up at the checkouts and things. Every time you see that or an ad on the TV or someone at work's got something, you are going to be so focused and so obsessed over chocolate because you've told yourself that you're not going to eat it. Not eating certain foods will always lead to disaster. I do not know any success story where someone has said, oh yeah, I cut out sugar and I didn't have this and I really like it and I'm not eating it at all and it's been really good and I've successfully lost 10 kilos doing that. I haven't met anyone yet that has done that. Okay, like I said, it's because it's not sustainable. You can't live your life not eating and enjoying the food that you love. You just can't. And what's the point anyway? Like food is one of life's joys. Like how good is it to bite into like your favorite burger or, like hot chips on a cold day or like a fresh piece of cake that's come out of the oven? Like it's one of life's joys. And if you try and restrict yourself from that, it will always end in disaster. So you're like, well, that's great, Jen, but, what am I supposed to do? Like, what do I, every time I have chocolate in the house, I feel totally out of control around it. Like every time, like I buy a packet of chips, like I just eat the whole packet and I can never just have a few and put them back. What do you do instead? Switch the way that you're looking at it. So instead of going, I can't have these things in my house and I have to cut out this food group because I have zero control around it, I want you to do this. I want you to start focusing on changing your relationship with that food. That's what it comes down to. Now, you can go, oh, well, that's great, but that's not going to help. Yes, it is. In my experience and with the hundreds of women that I've worked with and through my own personal journey, you can't just deal with the surface level stuff when it comes to weight loss and healthy eating. So you can't just deal with the surface level stuff. So you can't just go, okay, well, I'm just going to follow that meal plan and I'm going to do this thing for 6 weeks and I'm going to do that and just the stuff on the top. You have to deal with all of the stuff that has been holding you back this whole time. And that is all the messy stuff that is underneath you've been avoiding for all of these years and that you don't want to deal with. And that is your relationship with food. That is why you restrict the food. That is why you say, I'm at the supermarket and I really feel like some chocolate. But I'm being good, trying to lose some weight, so I'll put it back on the shelf and I'm not going to eat chocolate. Restricting those foods is not helping you. You don't have to restrict them. You just have to learn what your relationship is to that food. Now, I just want to mention as well too, if you haven't already, go back and listen to my last episode about self-awareness because self-awareness is something that you need to help you with your relationship with food. So if you haven't already, or if you're just listening and you're a new listener to the podcast, welcome, of course. So glad you are here. But yeah, definitely go back and listen to that episode because you'll find that these two connect together really, really well. And you will have all of the aha moments about what you need to do moving forward and where you might have been going wrong in the past. So you need to change your relationship to that food. You do not have to cut it out. I'm going to say it again. You do not need to cut it out. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's bread, if it's sugar, if it's chocolate, if it's cake, if it's lollies, if it's cheese, if it's wine. You do not have to cut out those things. You just have to look at your relationship with it and work out what is your relationship to it and create a new relationship around that. Now, in the last episode, I talked about my relationship with cake. I had a really unhealthy relationship with cake. It's because exactly what I'm talking about, I didn't keep it in the house. I restricted myself. And so what happened? I felt completely out of control out of that food. And then when it was put in front of me, I couldn't stop eating it. And I'm pretty sure that that's probably what happens to you too. So we keep it out of our houses. We don't have it in the pantry. We say, I'm not going to buy that. I won't have any of the stuff that's at the work morning tea or the treats because I'm trying not to eat that stuff and I'm trying to be good. If you feel like something, you need to eat the thing. Okay? Eating what you crave in small amounts is very important for your lasting success and for creating that healthy relationship with food. But you have to work out what your relationship to that food is. Are you ready to step into a vibrant community of health-conscious women where your journey to helping feel easy begins? Welcome to the Healthy Eating Hype Gal community, your ultimate destination for mastering your relationship with food and embracing a healthy lifestyle. As a busy working mum who's lost 10 kilos, I've been through it all and I understand the struggle. That's why I'm here to teach you the exact steps and tools I use to lose weight, conquer my mindset and thrive, all while juggling the demands of everyday life. Say goodbye to no more confusing fad diets or overwhelming nutrition advice. In this community, I'll guide you through the maze of weight loss and healthy eating and explain it to you in a way that finally makes sense. From easy, family-friendly meal plans to my exclusive calorie deficit quick guide, monthly masterclasses, plus so much more, so you can finally make healthy eating an achievable lifestyle without restriction. It's time to ditch the confusion and overwhelm for good. Join today and kickstart your journey to a healthier, happier you. There's no perfect time to start. Let's make your wellness dreams a reality. Now, like I said, you can pretend and you can listen to this and you can go, oh, well, I don't really have a relationship with chocolate. I like it and I eat it and that's kind of it. I'm telling you from firsthand experience, the relationship you have with those foods that you keep cutting out goes deeper than that and you have to tap into it because if you don't, even later on down the track, if you experience some sort of success, that relationship with food will continue over time to pop up, to rear its ugly head, and you will have to start all over again and it will hold you back and you'll be like, okay, great. And then you'll have a big blower and those things will keep holding you back. It's why a lot of the part of the membership is knowledge, it's education, it's upskilling because the more you know, knowledge is power, the more powerful you will feel. So it is really, really important that you don't just ignore these things and that you start dealing with them. So let's think about your relationship with chocolate, for example. So you think, okay, well, I just feel like some chocolate and I have some chocolate and then I just eat the whole block. And there is a reason for that. What is your relationship with that chocolate? Are you using it to comfort yourself after a bad day? Are you using it to comfort you for life stresses? Are you eating the entire block because you starve yourself all day and like skip breakfast and try and save calories for the end of the day, so you can eat them all of your calories after dinner? It's like, well, if I be good, and I do meet a lot of women like this, if I be good in the morning and I eat a lot less, then I'll have a lot of calories left over at nighttime where I can eat all of the crappy food and then I won't gain weight. Doesn't work like that. So what is your relationship to that food? Is it for comfort? Is it because you are hungry? Is it because you are tired? Is it because your kids annoy you? And so that's your only moment in your day that you get a little moment to yourself. You really need to understand what your relationship is to that food because it unlocks access to your success. So as soon as you can become, like I've said, I'll definitely go back and listen to my last episode about self-awareness. But if you can start tuning in and going, why am I eating this whole block? Like, am I genuinely hungry? Because if you're sitting there and you are genuinely hungry, big red flag. You need to look at your diet. You need to look at what you're eating because it's most likely that, you're restricting your food. You might be in this mindset of, well, I can only eat 1,200 calories if I want to lose weight. Like, if that is happening to you, there is a reason for it. There is a reason that you have that relationship with food, your relationship with chocolate, because you always restrict it. Is it because you always put it on the I can't have that list? I'm trying to lose weight, so I can't have it. If you restrict food, that will create a bad relationship with it. And I know it's really hard to get your head around the fact that, because I struggle with this too, when you allow yourself to eat all foods, like I mean any single food in the entire world, in the supermarket that you can think of. So when you allow yourself to eat any food at all, which is what I do. I pretty much allow myself to eat whatever I want. We think as women that means that we'll have a massive blowout and that we'll have no self-control and that we'll just eat all the stuff. It actually works the opposite way. When you give yourself permission and allow yourself to eat all foods in moderation, and when you start to understand that there's no good or bad food, like if you're in a calorie deficit, okay, I need you to understand this. So if you are eating in a calorie deficit, okay, and you've included chocolate as part of your calorie deficit, okay, so it might be like a small chocolate bar, or you might want a couple of Lindt balls or whatever it is. If you're in a calorie deficit and you have included some of that chocolate that you enjoy, you're still going to lose weight. And this is what women don't understand, okay? We think, oh, well, chocolate will put me over my calories. And no, it won't. If you know what you're doing, you're in a calorie deficit and you're eating it and enjoying that, moderate amount of chocolate as part of your calorie deficit, you will continue to get results. It's very important that you understand that it is not this all or nothing. It's not eating all of the chocolate and the wine and the chips and the lollies and all the things I love, eating all of it and having none of it. It's about having some of it and incorporating it into your day of eats, into your weekly meal plan, into your week of eat. And the reason this works instead of cutting out food groups is because it allows you freedom around that food. Like I said, as soon as you restrict something, what happens? Your brain goes into overdrive and it's like, okay, well, I've told myself I'm not going to have any chips today. I love chips. Okay, all I can think about is chips. I see a packet of chips. Someone's eating chips. An ad on the TV comes on. There's the chips. And then you're like craving chips. And then, all you do, whenever you restrict something, all it does is ramp up your brain power to focus on that thing like 110% all the time. And it makes it really hard to say no to those things. So restricting your food and cutting out food groups, like I said, whether it's bread or pasta, or whether it's a specific food like chips, chocolate, lollies, whatever your thing is, will never work. It will never work. It will never lead to your success. So if you are still thinking that, please stop now because it just won't work. The secret is learning how to create a calorie deficit. And I teach you my simple 2-step process in the membership because I truly believe that, I don't know, whoever has completely and utterly overly complicated a calorie deficit and how it should be and all these calculations and numbers and blah, blah, blah. So within 7 days of joining the membership, you will know your calorie deficit and you'll know exactly and be able to see exactly where you have been going wrong and why the way you have been eating isn't working. Like that's what food freedom is. It's about knowing what you're doing. And so when you learn this stuff and you go, okay, I'm in a calorie deficit and I'm losing weight. And then you realize actually I can have chocolate and still be in a calorie deficit. I can be a healthy girl and a gym girl and a fitness girl and go to Pilates and look after myself and I can still eat chocolate. I eat all foods. There is no food that I go, oh, better not have that. No, I can't eat that. I'm a healthy girl. Like I have a membership. I have a healthy eating business. Like I can't be seen eating chocolate. And it's still out there because it's always a thing. Like whenever I post chocolate on my stories or that I've gone out and I'm having Hungry Jacks with my family for dinner or something, people are always like, who eat that? Like, do you actually have takeaway? Yes, I do. And I eat it quite regularly. Once you understand that process of how a calorie deficit works and how healthy eating works, you realize that you actually don't have to cut out any of the foods that you love. Obviously, it doesn't mean that you can eat chocolate only forever and a day and the rest of your life. But I mean, who wants to eat that? You wouldn't want to eat that way anyway. But you can incorporate and include all of the foods that you love and still get results. You just have to learn how, and you just have to get someone to show you how, So that is the secret. But like I said, restricting your food, never. So if you're listening to this now and you're like, oh, well, I'm on a sugar detox and I'm not going to have any sugar, or I've decided that I'm going to cut out all bread and pasta and carbs for the next month, please stop. Please stop. Like I'm begging, please stop. It won't work. It will end up to you binging. It will end up to you overeating. It will end up to you feeling horrible and awful about yourself. So my best advice is to create a new relationship with that food. Or another good thing that has been really successful, if you're someone that turns to food for comfort, and the reason, and I'm thinking I might do a podcast episode on this topic as well, is because the reason that food gives us comfort, especially as women, is because it makes us feel in control. When you go to the pantry and you choose a food, you're actively making a choice, you're sitting down, you're eating that thing. It sounds weird, I know, and it's kind of hard to understand, but you actually feel in control when you're eating that food. It doesn't last very long, okay? So, as soon as you've knocked off that block of chocolate, in comes the guilt, and you don't feel very good, and you probably feel a bit gross because you've just eaten all of that chocolate, and I imagine it wouldn't feel very nice in your stomach, but it's not very long lasting. But in those initial moments when you are eating, when you are overeating, when you are binging on a certain food at nighttime, you actually feel in control. And that's why when we overeat, it gives us that feeling of control. So if you've had a crap day or life's throwing you stuff or your kids are annoying you and everything just feels chaotic, in that moment, it makes you feel in control. But like I said, it doesn't last. But I might definitely record another podcast episode on that whole topic, I think, because it needs its own full episode. So please stop restricting your food. Please look at your relationship with it. Why are you overeating on it? Is it because you're hungry? Is it because you have a bad relationship? Is it because you've restricted? Have a look and start fixing your relationship with that food. And a lot of it can come down to self-talk. So if you want to have some chocolate after dinner, go to the pantry and say to yourself, I actually genuinely feel like a little bit of chocolate after my dinner tonight, and I'm going to have some and I'm going to eat it mindfully. I don't need to eat the whole block because I can have some more next time. You need to start with the self-talk. Say it out loud. Like I remember I did for a while, and then what happens is that external self-talk becomes internal self-talk, and you kind of just say it to yourself without even sort of thinking about it. But like I said, restricting your food is never going to be the answer to your success. So please don't restrict. Create a new relationship with that food. Heal that relationship with food. And like I said, definitely go back and listen to the previous podcast episode on self-awareness, because these two click together and fit together really nicely. And if you are ready to create a new relationship with food, to start getting weight loss results, the Healthy Eating Hype Gal membership is the place to be. We've had some incredible results, and like I said, women getting results, but also improving their food mindset, because like I said in this episode, you can't do one without the other. Like you can say, oh, but my relationship with chocolate is fine. I'm telling you, it's not fine, and it needs to be worked on. And it's until you work on these things that your lasting results won't come. Even if you can push those things aside for a little while, they will forever pop up, rear their ugly head, and put you back to square one. So you really, really need to heal and create a new relationship with food so that you can have lasting results, lasting success, and so that you can eat foods in moderation for the rest of your life. And that's what the goal is, not restricting and just enjoying all food in moderation. As always, I hope you found this episode useful. Love chatting with you as always, but I'll see you in our next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the Healthy Her podcast. If you enjoyed today's chat and found it helpful, hitting that follow or subscribe button would be amazing, because your support means the world to me. Come connect with me on Instagram @TheActiveBod for your daily dose of inspiration and for loads of new easy meal ideas. Take care and keep thriving. See you next week.